Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be giving you a tour of my bookshelves. This will actually be a three-part video. I'll do one video focused on my fiction books, second part focused on nonfiction, and another part on my Star Wars books. But I thought first, before I delved into the fiction book tour, I'd kind of give you a wide view of my entire book collection. That small bookshelf there is my kind of books that are in to be read. Haven't read them yet. I usually have anywhere between 15 to 30 books in that one. I'm not going to do a video just on those. Then you have my main bookshelf, which you might be able to tell from the video is actually four bookshelves kind of combined into one. So the basically first 2.5 shelves are my fiction books. Then you have the last 1.5 shelves is my nonfiction books. And then my most recent bookshelf that I'd actually purchased is now where I use to store my Star Wars books. Based on the rate I get books, I'll probably have to get a new shelf in a year or two. But for now, I'm kind of good on space. So for this part of the tour, I'm going to focus on the fiction books, and as I said at the beginning, that's kind of the first 2.5 shelves here. They are organized by author, and then I kind of break it down into titles by ABC order. The one exception to that is like if an author does a series, I kind of like where the series falls in ABC order, but then I do the series, all the books in the series, kind of in order, so I don't have like series just jumping around randomly. So let me give you a close-up. So here's the close-up. I'm not going to touch on all the books mentioned that you can see, but I'll kind of highlight some of my favorites. I'm a huge Isaac Asimov fan, as you can kind of see from all the books I have of him. Love the Foundation series. If you're looking for a great sci-fi series to read, highly, highly recommend it. Next up, another big author I have is Ray Bradbury. Love Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451, Dandelion 1, Martian Chronicles, Illustrated Man, some of my favorite books. Absolutely love Bradbury. And then you'll skip down my second shelf. Love World War Z. Pierce Brown is one of my favorite recent authors. Been really loving the Red Rising series. Dark Age is the most recent one in that one. I'm looking forward to the next book in that series. Some more sci-fi books. You'll definitely notice as I tour the shelves that the main genres I read are sci-fi, historical fiction, and alternate history and dystopian in the fiction genre. Now you have Orson Scott Card with the Ender Games series. Got the Hunger Games series, which I really love. I'm always been into dystopian stuff, and it's just a lot of YA focus on dystopian that resulted in me in having a decent amount of YA. You can see more of that, like with the Maze Runner series. You'll notice a few older books in here that kind of look out of place. That's because I'm a volunteer with a local Friends of the Library system where I live, and they do use book sales every year, so I end up buying a lot of books from them, and a lot of times those end up being books from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So if you see an old book in here, that's what those are. So you have some Ken Follett books, which is my favorite authors. Pillars of the Earth, right there, is one of my favorite books of all time, if not my favorite book. There's about 3 or 4 books that kind of fall in that category of my favorite, depending on what the day is. And Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth is definitely one of those. Now, excuse me as I stand up to get to the next shelf. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. So next up, you have the Dune books by Frank Herbert. I actually just reread Dune a couple months ago. It's the first time I'd read it in a few years. It's kind of getting excited about the new movie came out, so I thought it was a good time to reread those books. I'm not sure if I'll reread the entire series yet. I haven't decided about that, but I reread Dune. Some more books by Frank Herbert. Then you get my only Stephen King book. I'm not a big horror fan, so I don't really read much in that genre, but weirdly enough, I have back-to-back Stephen King, which Under the Dome is not really horror, but then I have the entire collection of the Walking Dead compendium books, which I really enjoy. 7 Days in May is a really cool political thriller book set during the Cold War. To Kill a Mockingbird is another one of those books that fall into one of my favorite books of all time. Then you get into George R. R. Martin. I actually read all these probably within about a half a year. The TV series had came out, had been out for a few years. I knew it always sounded interesting, but I wanted to read the books before I did. And then one year I got a big book gift card to a local bookstore, and I just bought all the books, read them in several months, and then I binged the TV show and caught up. Jackson Pierce was an author I really enjoyed. She did a lot of really cool kind of YA books, kind of based on fairy tales, but set in a modern era. Sisters Red was a star of that. I really love that. She's also a local author, and she did some book signings. So I actually got to meet her a couple times at book signings, which is really cool. You have a few Edgar Allan Poe ones here. Philip Roth, The Plot Against America is one of my favorite alternate history books. You have some Veronica Roth books. Really very talented dystopian writer. Divergent's probably our best known series. Then you have one of my favorite newer authors I've been reading in the past few years, John Scalzi. Really great sci-fi author. A lot of his stuff has really very interesting plots, world building, but he's also very humorous. A collection of Shakespeare. Then you delve into the author I actually have the most books of anybody, and that's Harry Turtledove, who is my favorite alternate history author. I've read several of his series. I just always love books by Harry Turtledove. He's an insanely talented alternate history writer. All right, and then the last bit of my fiction books, some more Turtledove. You see, I have a lot of him. Get into some Twain books, which a lot of these are from those fringe library sales. And there you go. Those are all my fiction books I currently have. If you're curious about how I try, since I'm a big fiction and nonfiction book, I try to rotate. It gives me a good kind of breaks it up so I don't get tired of reading a certain genre. So I usually read 2 fiction books and a nonfiction, 2 fiction, nonfiction. The reason I do 2 fiction for every nonfiction is, typically nonfictions are slower reads, and they're a lot bigger. So, like I said, the way I try to rotate it is I'll read 2 fiction books and nonfiction. When I'm doing the fiction too, I try to break up the genres a little bit. So, like, for example, I'm not reading 2 sci-fi books back to back, or 2 Star Wars books, or 2 alternate history. I try to mix the genres up a little bit. It helps me keep from getting burnt out while I'm reading books and keeps everything fresh. So anyway, so that's my tour of my fiction books. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out my other videos that I'll be doing of a nonfiction tour and my Star Wars book tour. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video if you did. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Happy reading, and I'll see you the next time.